So, welcome to TheDustyFeet.com, because this is a place where we can safely explore the endless ways of God and the interconnection of His creation, where belief understandings, they may be challenged, divine misunderstandings, they may exist in traditional teachings, they just might falter as we pursue connection, context, and community with God and each other here in an environment of grace and love. So, feel free to journey around the space. Explore. We have many different topics for discussion. Outside the class, Sons of the Father, the Bible Project, Aleph Beta, Follow the Red String, and more. So lend your ear, then lend your voice. Join a conversation, start a conversation, ask questions. Because on this journey, you're probably around folks that just might be pondering the same thing. Community that can build and connect. So come in and join us. And welcome to The Dusty Feet. And good evening. It's July 20th, 2023. But welcome to the start of a series that I've been thinking about for quite a while now. Branches on the Vine, Conversations. I've wanted to have all different kinds of folks to come on, and I just want to talk about lives lived, what things that we might be doing that may be part of a kingdom of God kind of life. Okay. So we're starting this series with some friends of mine, Ashleigh and Ryan Morris, right? So sit back, catch, and relax. We're going to catch a conversation with these two great people. We're going to see where it takes us. So, welcome to the beginning of the series, Branches on the Vine, Conversations on the Dusty Feet. In the description below are links to all of the audio, video, and source documents that we use here in the Dusty Feet. We want to make sure that any material we use here is properly credited to those folks who work so hard to bring it to us. Without their efforts, the learning we do here does not happen. And of course on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon if you want to remind. So, welcome to Ashleigh and Ryan. Glad to have you too as part of the inaugural episode of Conversations. So, to be upfront with everyone listening, there's no hidden agenda here, no loaded questions, no lines drawn in the sand, right? We just want to talk about life and how maybe with what we might be doing, that we might even believe this is a part or our contribution to the kingdom of God. We know that can be a very diverse and dynamic topic, right? Okay, so not to be too cliche, but why don't the two of you just introduce yourselves a bit? Maybe give us some ideas of who you are.
All right. Well,
You go first.
I'm Ashleigh, mother of two boys, and we are a homeschool family. And this is
My name's Ryan. I am the husband and father, so the father of the two boys, husband of this wonderful woman here. who I truly believe is a gift from God. So
Aw,
very happy to have
he's the
her.
gift. It's good.
There you go.
We're
Yeah,
gifts
your
to each
your two
other.
boys are fantastic, mind you. I've had the chance to meet them and engage with them with some educational sides, talking about my hearing aid stuff. It was very cool.
Yeah.
It was very cool. Okay. So, Kingdom of God things. We were talking offline a bit about that it's a very diverse thought. That it's not about going to church. It's not about being in church. It's about living that life that Matthew chapters 5 through 7 kind of life, and how does that engage, right? So Ryan and I happen to have a unique connection, although being friends and in the men's group at the Vine. I've done Ryan's job. There's a long story of some jobs that I've had in the past, and filling in, having people come in behind that have helped get the jobs behind me, and it's done that for Joe Christmas, and that for Ted Vale, and for you, Ryan, and some other people for some other things. It's just one of those things where so I have this unique connection with some people because I know what you do, because I did what you do. So, and so that's fun. And actually, so homeschooling.
Yes.
And so I know both of you are service oriented. You want to serve the community you're in. You want to serve those that you're with. And right now you have school-aged children. Yeah. So you homeschool. So tell me a little bit about it. The logo's obviously in the corner, right? Tell me a little about it, Ashleigh, and how this ties in.
So working for the kingdom. So we should be the church. We should be going out and showing love and showing discipleship. We should be teaching each other and learning from each other, and not just keeping it all to ourselves. I love to work with kids and teenagers. I am a goofball full of energy. So we work very well together. And I worked this past year with Good News Club and going into the schools and teaching the gospel and working with kids. And God just was like, okay, you're going to go out. You are going to start your own academy. This is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to say. This is how you're going to label it. He just planned everything out for me, and I just took a step. He told me the next step. I took it. Like, he just cleared the path for me. And so it's been amazing. So Disciple Youth Academy, I want parents to have more options when it comes to homeschooling. So we don't have many options here in South Carolina, especially for teenagers. I know for my teenager, there was nothing that we could really afford, nothing that was really what we wanted. And so it was perfect for, let's do it. Let's make it happen then. Let's make something more for these kids. Let's make it available, homeschooling available. It's really hard. Parents want to homeschool, but they feel like they can't. They still have to go to work. Yeah. They can't teach high school math. Yeah. They're scared of the challenges, but they want to get their kids out of the school, out of the indoctrination, out of everything that's going on over there. And they want to be around others that can nurture and breathe life into their children. And so that's what I want to do. So we're going to be up and running in August. We even have a summer camp. It's getting things are moving along. It's been great.
Yeah, no, I've actually seen on Facebook your posts for the summer camp, and that looks like a ton of fun. I mean,
Yes.
escape room, all kinds of cool, engaging, dynamic things. We're not, it's not,
Yeah.
well, let's make little macaroni churches and do things. They're part
No.
of my youth and Sunday
No.
school stuff and Christian camp stuff sometimes, rather than this seems much more in engaging and focused. And I'm like, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So we want to make things exciting. We don't want to bore kids. We want to just keep it upbeat. That's why I'm building that escape room. I'm building the clue investigation room. Like, it's going to be awesome.
I like it. So Ryan, are you involved in the physical construction of some of that stuff? I know that's where your skill set sometimes tends to be on the okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. It's going to be more along the lines of the physical stuff and helping there. When it comes to the ideas and everything, it's definitely a lot of her and God, because I know there are times where she doesn't know right what she's going to do. She prays, she asks God for some guidance, and He does show up.
The
Yeah.
yeah, the like, because I know how sometimes, Ryan, with you especially, it's understated your willingness to support and do and help make things happen, because you can have an idea for an escape room, you can have an idea for things, but somebody has to do it, and I know your heart to do it. What do I need to do? I remember at the Vine, you were one that would say, hey, well, we need to go do something, let's go do it, and you'll say, I'll do. Other people can join if they choose, but you're of that ilk, and I love that about you. And I know these kids get to benefit from your involvement, because that's also a role observation, right? We'll use role model can be deal. I think that's one of the things where I want to be careful on that, but I still think it's an important thing for them to know and see and say, yeah, and then your boys could say, yeah, my dad helped do this, and that's cool. That's
I
cool.
can definitely say that over time, God has worked on me to help me get to this point, because 10 years ago, I was not that person that was going to volunteer and go help. And I still have some selfish tendencies, but I was way worse, 10 years ago, before, I found God and realized that He was true, and, realized that I could put my trust and faith in the Bible. Um, he's helped me tremendously realize that, the heart of a servant, it matters to Him. It absolutely matters to Him. And I do just want to do. I don't want to take too much credit for that, because honestly, I think that's one of the more simple things to do, is to just, show up and do. I don't have to necessarily come up with all the plans and ideas. I don't have to be smart. I just need to show up and be willing.
Um, okay, I'll say this. We're doing a series called Sons of the Father with my dad and my brother, like we're talking about live stuff, and we're talking about the chosen. Okay, and then we're discussing the how what's being played out and the scenes that they're playing out impact us, right? Because we're looking and seeing these scenes, and part of it was the work behind the scenes, because we don't think about things like on the Sermon on the Mount. It doesn't just, what do you think? Jesus just walked out, stood there, and went, they'll show. They'll just, no. There were people that had to do things. They had to organize things. They had to do this. And you have the disciples and other people that are working around to help make it happen. You're right. It's Jesus's teaching, right? And his deal, but he goes and he leaves that to those that have the heart of service to work, right? And that's what makes your heart so strong and so big here. Okay, so you mentioned 10 years ago, okay, when where you were and the God time. So how did that and now you are more of a Torah observant walk.
Yeah.
So and when did that start, and how has that had an impact in those from going from 10 years back? Because you haven't been walking Torah for 10 years. So
Nope.
what were little changes that have helped you mature there, if that's a word to use?
Um, well, it started around 2017.
Okay.
Um, and the little changes here and there were definitely, I would say, trials and tribulations.
Mm-hmm.
God had to bring me low at certain times. I had to be humbled because I was definitely being stubborn. I wanted to continue doing things my way and just, yeah, God's real. We're good. So,
Okay. Yeah.
but there really wasn't much of a heart to obey Him or follow Him or love Him. And he, I, I believe He basically, showed that father side of Himself to
Mm.
me and was helping to bring me along and teach me and correct me. And He absolutely used my wonderful wife during that process. Um,
I know what that's
I
like.
I feel like at times, she was his mouthpiece, and I was hearing it, and it's all good. um, but yeah, the journey from 2017 um, kind of kicked off with I think it was trumpets, Feast of Trumpets
Oh,
celebration
okay.
in Kentucky. There was a get together of some people from Indiana and Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
We drove up there, made a vacation out of it, and got to see the sliver moon that night.
Mm.
Um, and that's really the kicking off of our walk, the walk that we're on now.
Right.
Before that, I was learning. God was bringing me along, teaching me, showing me. But I think that's if there's a true starting point, I would pick that one. Feast of Trumpets 2017.
Gotcha. So who, of the two of you, who got the Torah nibble first?
Yeah, me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, he did. I thought he was crazy.
Hey, I've been there. Well, sometime we'll need to have Heather on here too to talk about that.
Oh yeah.
I've had her on in a my Zer Conegdo
Mm-hmm.
episode I have. If people want to go
I
watch it,
remember
it's
that.
there on TheDustyFeet.com. Um,
Mhm.
but to talk about this on the walk piece, and yeah, no, there was time, and I'm not talking about weeks. I'm talking about years um, of walking through and seeing if that's kind of a question. Are you sure? Are you sure? And Ryan, it takes us walking it out. Yeah. Um, and
Yeah.
that takes time. You have to. There's one thing to say something, but as you walk it and live it, it starts to be something. Yeah. And then Ashleigh, I assume you. So what did you see a change? Did you see? Was there something that you said, maybe he's got something here, or what? What?
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
So I had grew up, going to church every Sunday. My mom made banners for churches all over the world. We were
Oh wow.
just always praising and worshiping in the home. But that's
Mm-hmm.
all we did every single day.
Yeah.
So for him to be like, I know more than you, I was like, excuse me? What?
Mm.
What do
Mm.
you mean? You know, I've been doing some things wrong and it's really this way. And um, I didn't, I saw some behavior change, but
Mm-hmm.
not too much. But really, on the Feast of Trumpets in 2017 that he's referring to, my mom had actually just passed away. And we actually went to a place called Best Shofar. I went there when I was a kid on Saturdays, or maybe it was Friday evenings, I'm not sure. But so I grew up with actually honoring the Sabbath, and I really didn't know that
It's fun
until
to see with the things
I
you
made
know
the
you don't
connection.
know that you know. Yeah.
Yeah, so my mom, we went to both. We went to Sunday school and to Sunday church and to also, Sabbath. So,
Intriguing.
but we didn't do that all during my, growing up, just when I was younger. So we went to the Feast of Trumpets, and I walk into their, I don't know what you want to, their church.
It's like where the church part is smaller than the big old gymnasium
It's like
area, right? You got like a gymnasium area that's attached to the church, but the church is probably always smaller than the gymnasium. It's like one of those churches.
Yeah, so it's like a gymnasium, and I just so happened to, I had a shofar. Actually, when I was younger, when my mom would go and sell banners, we would go to conventions, and there would be other booths and people selling things. And one of the people there were selling their shofars, and the guy saw me eyeing it, and I kept going over to his table, like, every day, and he gave it to me.
Wow.
He gave me the shofar.
Very cool.
I don't know if I was 7 or 8, I'm not sure. And so I've carried that around with me all my life. And so I brought it with me, and we gave it to our son, and it's his now. And so I walked into that gymnasium, and it was like, oh, this is home. This is what I grew up with. Like, they were even playing the same songs from Beth Shofar that I went to.
Right.
They're playing the exact same songs that I had, that no one else had ever known about. Like, no one plays them, and only like my family in my house have I heard those songs. And so I walked into that room, and I was like, wow, okay. Like, they have the same kind of decorations that I'm familiar with. They all have their shofars, and here's mine. And I was like, oh, okay. Huh.
I can do this.
Yeah, and I just was excited. And then it took a while, but then we really have gotten now like this amazing relationship that I couldn't imagine us having if we didn't start learning truth.
Yeah.
God needed to be a part of our marriage, and previously, at least from my standpoint, he was not a part of our marriage.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, I had been praying and crying out for a man of God, and boom.
There's slow boom.
A long, slow, thunderous roll boom. There you go. It sounds more dramatic that way. It's funny that we don't see the man unnamed who gives you a shofar has no idea the impact that is going to have decades later, and how that's going to continue and roll forward. And I think we underestimate what we do in life, and we don't see that moment. He could have died. We'll just use this as a dramatic point. He could be dead and never have seen that, or live somewhere else, right, and never have seen that play out. God gets to hold that account ledger, so to speak, right? But he gets to bless on those, the Sometimes you don't even realize you're making a kingdom investment.
Yeah.
But we get to hear the stories and those plays out, and these people, we don't know it, especially ourselves, because we in the moment don't see ourselves as that, and we're not going to see it for 10 years, 20 years, or whatever, and what those impacts are. And that those are big moments, big they're big then, but we don't realize that they are.
Yeah. Especially for children, we need to make sure that we are being givers
Yeah.
and being just kind and sharing, because kids, they are seeing us and wondering, why should we follow you? Why
Yeah.
should we live our lives like? Why should we grow up going to church as well? Like, why should
Yeah.
we do that too?
Yeah.
Like, look at you guys. Y'all aren't nice. Y'all aren't kind. Y'all gossip or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
we have to be that loving example, and we do need to give those experiences, those moments of in acts of kindness, because kids cherish that. Just a little example, like if a kid has something that they're selling, buy from them. Like, really,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
do so much for them instead of shutting them down, and then having
Yeah.
that, like,
Yeah.
now I don't want to go out and put myself out there. You can
Right.
be that light, like, yes, I would love this lipstick that you made, whatever it is, because that act right there, you have no idea what effect that has on them.
Oh
They
yeah.
could make a little business out of that. You have no idea.
Yeah.
And it's just little acts like that. We can do so much more than we think we can, and we should be doing things
Yeah.
every single day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be about
go,
God.
Ryan, go. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be about God. I mean, there's so much. I don't want to. Well, this might sound wrong, but there is so much more to life, right, than a church. Or it's hard to say there's so much more to life than God, because
Yeah.
I mean, He's so much a part of it. But you don't always have to be preaching type deal, right? And that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that act of kindness and love still points back to Yeshua. It still points back to him. So it's okay that I'm not,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. It's funny we're having this conversation. What's the phrase? Coincidence, and I vacillate with this. I struggle with the term, but it doesn't surprise me when topics as we go, they cross paths, and we don't even realize we're having this conversation with somebody else. And literally today, I'm having a conversation about these like random acts of kindness. In other words, where you stop and you compliment somebody, you tell them your hair looks beautiful, or da da da. I gave an example. I've done this before. This is just an idea and something that works for me. I'll go to, say, Walmart. When I'm in Walmart, I'll go up to the customer service counter and just tell the ladies that are back there, because normally it's 2 or 3 ladies back there, and say, thanks for doing what you do, because it is a thankless job back there. People are either there to complain, that's their job at the customer service role, or they're returning something. Normally they're not happy with it. So they're not. And they take this, being rough, the rough side of society goes and gets them. And it's got to be beating. And you say, thank you because somebody has to be here and somebody has to do that. And this company is so big, but you guys make it personal. And to see faces just light up for a moment. And when you have these opportunities, just be so simple. And it doesn't take any effort. Really. I mean, honestly, there was no blood, sweat, and tears in it. But there was heart in it. Right? Mm-hmm. And it makes a difference to encourage a kid to invest in their stuff. Like you said, buy the lemonade from the little girl on the corner. Stop your car. Go give them
Yeah.
$1. And take the lemonade. You don't have to drink it. I do. I'll take 2. But you're right. There's investment in that. And see, what do you have the Bible verse? One of those, raise your children up that they may follow. And I've seen that. I've heard that verse taught for decades, too many decades, and yet I struggle to see it lived out, right? So I'm always looking for people that are investing in youth and doing it and seeing where it goes. And you're right, it might not be an immediate. We see kids that walk away and come back and those kind of things. They're always checking these things out. But when they do, Ashleigh, you're talking about your past and things that happen. You go, those are those kind of moments that draw you back to this. Now, Ryan, you didn't grow up in a church family, if I remember correctly, right?
We didn't really go to church. No, I did have Sunday school when I was young, about the age of 5 or so. My mom was a believer, had Bibles, talked about God, talked about Jesus, but the whole church, going to church, that wasn't a common thing. The Vine is the first church that I ever chose to go to.
Oh, wow.
Right. I've been to her church, been to my aunt's church, and a couple other churches that I go with people on rare occasions. But the Vine was the first church that I ever was like, okay, I'm going. We're going. This is where I'm going. Yeah.
So actually, what was your first? I don't want to put the Vine on the spot here, but what were your reactions to him saying we're going to go to the Vine?
Well, he went on his own for a little bit.
I understand.
and then I went. And I don't know, I thought it was great. I met all the people. I loved the people, and then, of course, soon it became, a real family, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah.
I love everybody there. We, have our families together. We eat together. We laugh together. So
I love it. I do. Yeah. And I know that feeling, Ryan. I know there's part of Heather's and mine's relationship with that, and time between me going and her coming there, and there's a lot. Maybe we really do need to have that episode sometime with that. But what I like with both of you is that you've come from some varied backgrounds, and yet that you don't even realize there's an element you had in common that you didn't realize, you didn't even know. Your exposure to, I'll use a term for broad stroke, messianic type, where you've got people doing Shabbat and those kind of things in the shofar, that's one of my favorite sounds. And then Ryan working that way, and you realize there is a mix, there is a connection, there is something that unites us. And then as it does, and then you realize that can really start to really make things strong. And then you two are now the wonderful couple that you are with your fantastic boys.
Yes.
Yeah. So thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing this. Because what I want to encourage people to say, hey, this isn't about, we've been doing this for 42 years and we've had that. No, some people it's a walk, it's a journey, it's a beginning. It's exploring new things. It's trying something different. It's going, hey, we're having an issue, a lack of, say, with school and education. You say, what can we do to do? And realize that I can do something. There are those that can't. So let's put our resources together, and you bring your kids, and we'll do this. We have people, and we can make things happen. So, so again, make sure I get the info to put in the link. Links will be in the description for details for that, because I want you to check it out, take a look, understand, at least be aware of things, and if it encourages you from your wherever in the world you happen to be, people, that you can be either involved in. Not everybody starts things. I'm thrilled that you did, but some people say go find where to be involved, to offer support, to offer help. I know I had the chance to talk to the kids. They asked me about my my hearing aid and my cochlear implant. So I got a chance to talk about hearing impairment and those kind of things. So it was fun to be a little guest. And so there's ways where people can be involved, and let them try to be involved. So thanks both for being here. Ryan, I do appreciate your friendship. I appreciate your support. You're special, and people, you're under recognized and over deserved, right? People have a blessing to have you as a part of their life, and she is particularly blessed to have that. And Ashleigh, you're a wonderful pairing for him, and you get to be that bubbly part next to him and stretch him on his where he wants to be a little more. So Ashleigh says, we could stretch this a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm thrilled you guys do. I think is exciting. So thank you for being with us, and we're going to enjoy. Hopefully, sometime down the road we'll have to have one of these. We'll have revisited or something, and we'll talk to people and see how things have gone over periods of time and those kind of things. So we'll talk about that later. But thanks for being here. Okay, so these are fun, and this just energized me. This conversations line is going to be fun. They get a chance to see different people and their walks and what they do, and it's not about picking hymns or doing. It's about life and what you can do in community for your community. To be that guy like Ryan that just says, just be there to help. Just say, hey, you don't have to come up with the ideas. Just be there to help. That is an amazing service. And I have a feeling Yeshua talked about that more than once, made some highlight reels in the Sermon on the Mount. So Point to Ponder is kind of easy tonight. And it's, don't forget that Disciple Youth Academy. It's a blessing. And so one could say it's at least God inspired. And so the links will be in the description to check it out and see where it might encourage you. Because it looks like they're going to have a lot of fun with those kids. So thanks for with us tonight on our inaugural episode of Branches on the Vine Conversations with Ashleigh and Ryan. This was brilliant. And thanks for with us on The Dusty Feet.